soon we're 300 miles down the road.
Mhm.
And I saw it was like 7:57, and then so I turned my computer on real quick, and it was just a second. We got more people. Darn it. Well, good to see you, Tim. We were going to do a dream by you.
All right.
Yeah. Why don't we? I think we're well, we're going to finish Charles' dream, but what? Hey, Azine, how you doing? I am sorry that I'm late. Gary, too. Gary had a really interesting vision. But Charles, did you want to finish your dream, or Tim has a dream too? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has anything more to add on it, then
Yeah. Well, could you
yeah.
just tell it to us one more time, because I remember it, but I didn't get to write it down. Hey, Azine, it's nice to see you, and Dawn is here too. So great, and we're gonna have Tim.
Hello,
Tim
everybody.
is going to give us a dream, and then Gary has a very interesting vision. What were you going to say, Azine?
Nothing, just saying hi.
Okay. All right. Well, Charles, why don't we start your dream, and we'll just finish it. You're in a room. Let me just try to tell it. You're in a room with a lot of girls. There is a snake on the floor, and it has a yellow stripe on its back. Now, we couldn't hear you last time because you had a little bit of a connection problem, but it has no head. Isn't that right? It has a kind of a spiked tongue, but no head. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And now the snake keeps jumping up to essentially as if it did have a head and teeth, trying to strike at you. And when it strikes, you jump up.
No,
right?
I'm just jumping around like crazy to try to avoid being bit. It's not trying to bite me at all. It's just calmly slithering around.
Oh, that's interesting. I see. We didn't get the whole story last time. Okay, and so anyway, you're just jumping up and down. Okay, now one time when you come down, one of these girls that are in the room with you kind of catches you to slow down your jump, and you are worried that she is going to expose you to the snake. Is that okay? Now, is there anything we missed?
No, not really.
Okay.
I kind of holler at her to be like, "What are you doing? Like, if you catch me like this, I'm probably gonna get bit." But
yeah, but
there's just one detail I remember of, like, I wasn't afraid of like what would happen if the snake bit me. Like, I wasn't afraid that it was poisonous or anything. I was just afraid of the pain, the physical pain that it might cause from it biting me.
Yes, you did mention that. So the snake was not dangerous, but it would be uncomfortable. It would just take it would cause pain. It would not be dangerous to you in a mortal sense, but it would be just like, say, a cat biting you or something. It just hurts. It pinches. It's a pinch. But anyway, let's just go through the dream to start out with, because there's some things that we haven't seen before. First of all, a very unusual image for you, Charles, is that you're in a room with many anima, many feminine presences. Now, there's always a rule: if there's more than one anima, they're breaking through. They're very close to the conscious level. You always got these anima who won't even look at you, like Molly won't even acknowledge you or whatever. I mean, now you have many Now, all that usually says, it's usually a clue that they are, in other words, your relationship with the anima is getting stronger. It's not where before it was the ego and a hamster, and the hamster was sort of a stand-in for the anima. You know, I really don't know about the starfish and what was the other one that you were trying to save just recently? What was that other animal? Oh, it was the baby elephants. Okay, you jump across from one room into another, and you try to save the baby elephants, and the big masculine man beats up your mother because you're trying to save this infant divine in you. But anyway, the idea is that you're in there with living anima is very interesting. Now, the snake on the floor, the headless snake on the floor. Now, what I kind of left it as last time, just my guess, we're all just guessing here, is that's your body and you're the head, and you're disconnected from your body. But in order to be, you don't have a relationship with the women. Now, this is just very speculative. Is that you need to become friends with the bodily aspect. Where is the head of the snake? It doesn't have one. What does the snake represent? The body, or the the spinal cord, or some aspect that's the root instinct, or it can also represent a undifferentiated self, like a dragon can, sort of the undifferentiated unicorn will eventually become a unicorn. Now, it has a yellow stripe on its back. Yellow typically means in intuition. It can also mean gold. It's the golden snake. It's a snake that's related to the treasure hard to attain or something. That's again speculative. Okay, now the snake is not doing anything, but the ego is deathly afraid of this instinctive bodily factor. It's not relating to the women at all in the room. Were they attractive, or what were you doing? Where is this room? And why were you in it with the women?
I don't know. I can't remember the rest of the dream. I was talking to them at some point, but they're all about my age.
All about your age, all very eligible. You're eligible. Yet you were talking to them a little bit, but so then suddenly you get distracted by this. Any way you look at it, a snake without a head is magical. It's got a gold thing on its back, or yellow stripe, could represent intuition or whatever. So you are deathly afraid of the pain it would cause your ego consciousness to have a relationship with this snake, this kind of primal instinctive factor. It's painful. It's going to cause me pain. It's going to cause the ego pain, the dream ego, and the anima is wondering what you're doing. And because you're jumping up and down, the snake's not threatening you. And she just one time rushes up in a nurturing, feminine way and tries to catch you. And then you in a sort of a alarmed masculine or non-feminine thing are saying that you are making it more likely that you experience the pain of reuniting with the instinctive. Well, anyway, that is a start, but let's start adding levels of clues. Tim, what do you think?
I'm stuck on the headless snake. I guess I need to formulate my thoughts on it because it's
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just we'll come
Go
back
around.
to you. I was just going around what my screen says. Roy, what is your take on each one of these images?
I'm just kind of sticking with the snake, like you were saying. It represents the body, and of course Charles is intuitively afraid of it because it also represents the woman in the woman's realm, the snake,
Yes.
and the earthly realm, and he should be intuitively scared of it because it's going to cause him a lot of pain. Of course, they aren't scared of it. Oh yeah, it's the earthly realm, and he's going to feel the pain. Yeah, his intuition is right, but it's nothing he can do about it.
It's sort of the ego does not like all this this psyche appearing all at once, the women and the snake, and the strange headless snake. Now, what do you think about this, Azine, as kind of someone who's done a paper on body is animal and the upper half is a human? What do you think about this? Because it sort of is a centaur, a little bit. It seems, I mean, you got the ego and this, it's a centaur that doesn't want to be a centaur.
I don't know. In this dream, I think snake reminds us of the great grandmother.
Yes, I was feminine aspect, as Roy was saying. That was a good.
But and the multiple animal figures also, as you said, shows how that we are getting closer to the source, because great grandmother was divided into these goddesses, separated, and so when we have a dream of a snake or a bear, most of the times, it shows us that we are going back to the point that all these separations is uniting. And so of course it's going to be painful for the ego, but the dream also is telling us that there's no real harm, there's no poison, because men are basically afraid of getting close to great grandmother. It can be very scary because it's very powerful. And so the dream is kind of assuring him that there's not going to be, it's not going to harm you, but it will create some kind of pain. And
think of the headless aspect.
Yeah, and jumping up and down, it reminded me of a kind of ego inflation, because you go high and you go down, but this animal figure is holding you down, giving you roots and grounding you. And somehow it shows that relating to body or earth or anything, grounding, it helps you with connecting with the snake or great grandmother. But anyways, these are our interpretations. I was listening to James Hillman's A Blue Fire a couple of nights ago, and I listened to that before going to sleep. And he was telling this person that the snake or serpent in the dream, not the client and not the therapist, they try to label it, but the serpent in the dream knows more than both of you. You know, so it's the serpent that you have to ask, what are you trying to tell me? Not your therapist. So, because the serpent knows better than both of us.
He had this famous line. He says, "Don't worry that you don't understand the dream understands you."
Yeah, particularly with serpents. I don't know, it's a video or audio, I heard it. It was in Pacifica, in one of the rooms. that I presented something there. But anyways, he is talking about they're talking about the dream or symbology of a dream, and somebody said, oh, the serpent is the phallus thing, and he gets angry and he said, you killed the serpent just by calling it something, labeling
Yes.
it, you kill the image. So in interpreting dreams, we want the imaginal, the figures in the dreams to be more alive after interpretation. But when we label them and say this is this and this is it, we're kind of killing the energy and aliveness. So
The literal aspect.
yeah.
If you make it literal, it's dead. You
Yeah.
know? But the idea is, so it isn't so much the literal images, but it is as if it is this.
Yeah,
If
it's
it
symbolic.
is that.
What we are doing here is symbolic, like
Yeah.
layers of meaning. We don't say this means grandmother. It's
Yeah.
one feedback, it's just aspect.
No,
of it.
it's somewhat, well, let me just mention, as far as Roy said, I think is a good image that the snake is feminine, and I mean, just represents a sort of a feminine, and what you said, it represents the grandmothers, and then to me, that brought up the fact the snake is a very ancient
It is. The great grandmother, obviously, because it's someone in the center of this circle.
Yeah.
With this animal figure.
Yeah, so it's the one figure in there that's the most mythical, you know,
Yeah.
the most odd, and the fact that it has no head, you know.
Yeah, it's
Also,
weird.
yeah,
The great grandmother by itself is really scary. I experienced it like 10 years ago. I was in a phase that experiencing great grandmother. It's really primitive. It's very possessive. Like you cannot handle it with your mind. There's no way you can relate to great grandmother with your mind. It's just body and instincts and possessive and really, really fierce, you know? So it's a really scary, even for women. And I don't know really about the headless snake, but this is what I see, that is the connection is through the body and instincts, not through, but he was talking to these animal figures. I don't know about it. I don't know why he was talking to these animal figures. And I suggest Charles to do some grounding for this dream, like painting it, making a sculpture, whatever that can manifest this headless. But the snake had tongue, right?
Yeah,
it
it
had
has
a
a
spike.
tongue, but its tongue is not forked like a regular snake. It was just like one spike of a tongue.
So it's not forked. Is it forked?
It feels masculine to me. I don't know, something masculine.
Yeah, the fact that it's directed. He's had dreams about the arrow. He's had dream about some kind of, he had 2 or 3 dreams in a row about directed energy. So that's the directed energy aspect of it. The fact that it's got a spike, you know.
If you draw
arrow.
it may come to you. If you draw the scene and ask the serpent why your tongue is like that, why you don't have a head, active imagination or drawing, something may come up.
Yeah, once Charles draws something, I don't know if you've seen some of his drawings, they're unforgettable. He's done a lot. Wow. What do you think, Gary? And then we'll go back to see if Tim has any further thoughts.
Oops, hit the right button. Yeah, so I want to go with the feeling aspect of the dream. So there were 2 primary feelings. One was the fear of ending up in pain, and then the other one was the fear that the anima would hold you in a place where you were going to feel pain. And so to me, you know, what the anima was doing was beneficial. It's saying, look, you know, you need to go through the pain. And, you know, you have to, if you're, you know, if you're grounded, if you're doing very physical things that take you out of the mind, that take you into the body, the pain itself can actually be a bit of a celebration. Like if you're out running, you know, you will feel pain, you know, when you go a certain distance, or if you're, you know, on a bike and you're going hard up a hill, you know, there's pain involved. And even at the end of really hard physical exercise, you know, there's the pain of the muscles, you know, kind of protesting at the end of it. And yet there's something, you know, extremely human about this. And I think this is telling you that you need to go into the pain. And that pain could be the pain of becoming grounded, the pain of getting out of the mind and into the physical. It could be the pain of, you know, doing relationships and finding out things about yourself that you always find out in relationships that you don't want to know, but, you know, that always come up. But this is telling you, you know, it's time to act. And you know, I think it's the grounding part of it, because of the feeling aspects of this, the feeling that you don't want to feel the pain. You want to, you know, remain in the intellect, in the air, you know, and the anima trying to hold you to where you will feel the pain, you know, and you trying to stay away from it. And now is not the time to stay away from the pain. Now is the time to go into it and through it. That's my interpretation.
And you know, I don't know if this is necessarily related, but you know, the isn't it now, who is it? Is it ISIS or somebody that you know, will you know, has the snake bite someone, and then what that does is it awakens the healing energy in whoever it is. So there's a healing aspect to the being bitten by the snake. And okay, I want to just mention two things. One is the fact that the anima tries to keep you from being airborne, and that I don't think the snake is going to bite you. I think that you think, but although it has a spike, so it's slithering around and you're afraid to spike. So it's just a person. It's a snake that seems harmless, but you know, it just scares us. I wanted to show you, this is a picture of there was a headless snake and on a tennis court in Australia, and it kept striking this man who was on the tennis court or whatever it was. He had a tennis racket anyway. He's got a film of it, you know, the headless snake trying to attack him, you know. But anyway, so a little odd, you know. But anyway, Tim, what do you think?
Well, I like what you guys have said. I'm kind of thinking about the snake as being a sort of counterpart to the hamster, because the snake is the predator of the hamster. But without the head, I'm thinking of half of its capacity as both a transformation element and a frightening sort of demonic reptilian element. And it seems to me that it has to do with grounding. It's the grounding without the transformation element. And so maybe what I'm getting from it is this isn't something that you arrive at by cognition. It's something you arrive at by raw feeling.
Something is missing, something is missing. The head, I mean, there seems in every dream, there seems to be something missing. But go ahead, Tim.
Well, I'm just thinking of it as being like the partner of the anima. So like sometimes the shadow is the partner
Of the anima or animus.
Compatriot or the, but this is a partnership with a kind of twist, so that there's no upper part. It's like the lower half of a centaur, which is not the same thing as an animal. It's the somatic part without any intellect or something like that.
That was kind of what I was thinking. It was just really odd. And first, when Charles, if you would provide us some context to it, I think it's going to really reveal it. And then let's just see what everybody thinks. How do you interpret the dream, Charles?
Well, the first thing has anybody here heard the song "Come Down" by Bjork?
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
So I've heard of Bjork.
Right.
She's from Iceland or something.
Yeah. Like this jumping up and down to avoid the floor. I don't know. It just says to me, I don't want to be on the ground, and the dream is illustrating that's because there's some source of pain, whatever that snake represents. It's a source of pain that lies in wait on the ground for me. It's not necessarily trying to get after me, but it is there. And my anima is like providing some sort of support, as to say, like, like, I'll help you, and this is where I am, down here on the ground. And like, if you need me to be here because of the pain, that's fine, but I'll be here. And I don't know, like, there's a part of me that is trying to help and assist me to come down, but I'm just too afraid of whatever pain lies in wait. I see the snake as almost like, for some reason, something that like plugs into me. It makes me think of an electrical cord, because it's just like a wire with the little prong sticking out of it. And that's what the snake is like. It doesn't have a head. It's just like a socket with a prong sticking out of it, kind of. And I just imagine it plugging into me and like changing my firmware or something. I don't know.
That's what I kind of thought, is that you're the head, and it is, as Zane mentioned, as Roy mentioned, it's sort of this instinctive aspect, the instinctive feminine aspect. Our bodies, don't you think, are always feminine? And our heads are this, they're of nature. Let's just put it that way. They're not feminine or masculine. They're nature. And we're that thing that's somewhat opposed to nature, and it wants to plug into you, Does anybody else have any thoughts about this? And then maybe go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, in alchemy, there's a phase where the person has their head chopped off. People have dreams about headless animals and having their head chopped off and headless things. and that's part of the alchemy process. You have to get your head off. You have to lose your head, and then later on it has to be reattached. So it's kind of like a reattaching of the head, you know, in alchemy. You know more about that than me, probably, Craig.
Well, you go down into the night sea journey where you're cut up into little pieces.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like in alchemy, the man has a big problem with the spirit, the mental thing, which is the head. He has a big problem with it, his
The
ego.
Green Man.
Not the green man, I'm the alchemist.
Yeah.
The alchemist has a big, he's in his head, it's ego. It's just a classic problem working from the prima materia. It's a classic problem. You start with the man is too much in his head. So they cut his head off. Well, that fixes a problem temporarily, but then it has to be reattached. You haven't heard of those dreams? It's just volumes written on that. I've had dreams on that. A couple people on Facebook and the Creative Bridge, especially Setpa, she had a lot of dreams like that. So I was reading about it.
Sveta, yeah.
Yeah, she had a lot of dreams like that, and it's just classic part of the alchemy thing if you follow it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you hadn't heard more about it. I'm no expert on it.
Yeah, but it is an aspect of the. I think that
it's just pure mental. It's just pure mental. That's where we start, especially men. And the easiest way to metaphorically fix that is just chop the head off. Just chop the head off. Just do away with it. That's classic unconscious way to solve something. It doesn't make any sense literally, like freaks you out. But the unconscious is trying to shock you. It's trying to get a point across. And then later on, it'll worry about how to get it reattached. You know, that's not the initial problem. The initial problem is getting the damn head off, and they just whack it right off. And then another way it'll get reattached.
It reminds me of the Wizard of Oz, where you got the Tin Man who has no heart. You have the Scarecrow who has no brain, you know, or no, you know, he doesn't have his head. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And then the lion with the courage, you know, is lacking courage. So he's lacking a heart, lacking a head, and lacking. Now, courage though means heart too. It means courage.
But nobody wants to be a scarecrow. Nobody wants to be a scarecrow. Nobody wants to be brainless. So they won't let go of their brain. That's the last thing they're going to let go of.
Exactly.
That's why you got to chop it off.
Yep, you got to chop it off because it is the aspect that keeps you airborne. You know, inflated, and your head and your feet.
You can't progress. You can't progress. Yeah. You can't get grounded.
You know, in 1991, it was the first time I went to Norway, you know, and I met my grandfather's first cousin there, and her name was Beata, and she talked to me after 5 minutes of talking to me. She couldn't speak English, you know, and she says to me in Norwegian, she says, "Craig, my feet are both on the ground." She says, "You're up in the clouds." He says, "You're like my sister, Nancy." You know, she says, "I want you to go back to America, and I want you to find the first girl you see and marry her and have a family." That's, you know, this was like 5 minutes after I met her. But I mean, she's the greatest analyst who ever lived. You know?
She was the great grandma.
Well, yes. And okay, so let's just kind of sum up the images, you know, really quick. You got you're in a room full of anima figures. It's the room of the anima. You are in her room. You know, you are in her realm. It's filled with anima figures, and in that place is a snake with a golden stripe on it, and it is but it has a flaw. And the flaw is it has no head. And you have a flaw. You have no body. Because you always want to be up in the air. You're trying to jump off the ground. You don't need your body. You don't need your legs and your feet. You know, I had that dream where I was up in outer space, weightless, and I wanted to cut off my feet. I don't need them up here. I don't need a body, really. I just need my head. And, you know, Jung said this one time, that in this age, we are all decapitated heads. We're separated from our nature. Well, what does the snake represent more than anything, any other image? Nature. You know, this elemental life figure, nature figure, a living thing, you know, doesn't have legs, doesn't have anything else. It's just alive. And yet it is uncanny. There is no other animal in the animal kingdom that is more hypnotic than a snake. I mean, it can hypnotize with its movement and everything else. And it's not, but it has a spike. I think as Azine was saying that, and as his other dreams, the 3 or 4 dreams back, were saying it has something to do with directedness, you know, but as Charles said, it's the connector to his body that's going to reprogram him. So I strike that. It's not so much that thing. I think it's just the connector, as Charles was saying. And then Charles, what did you do the thumbs up on when Roy was talking? It was
something about the decapitated head having to be reattached.
yes,
I forgot
be
exactly.
reattached.
I forgot what detail he had mentioned.
Be reattached is the vessel of the empty vessel of in other words, you need a real strong ego, but then you need to let go of everything in the outer world and be in service to the inner world with your very strong developed ego, because that's why nature wants you to have a strong developed conscious ego that's far away from nature. So now you can come back and be its eyes and ears in the outer world to create the philosopher's stone, to evolve the God image, you know, or something like that. You know, Azine, you seem like you're ready to pounce.
I just want to share something that when you're talking about head and your decapitated heads, look at the screen. Like all of us
Yes.
here are just head, you know, and
Yeah.
tongue, and we're relating to each other like this. And I was thinking that since we are sharing these dreams with each other, to me, it's like everybody's dream is kind of a part of my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when something is happening in my life, sometimes I see clues in your dreams. That it's like something is talking to me through your dreams as well, because we are forming a collective energy and sharing the dream mind with each other. It's really interesting. And
Really isn't our dream either. I mean, it's more, it's an unconscious image. We all have the same dream maker in us.
yeah,
You know, so it's this unconscious image, and that's why it sort of resonates in almost anyone, because it comes from the same source.
and I was also I want to suggest to Charles to go online and Google snake, headless snake. I sometimes do that because there's a lot of garbage out there, but sometimes what people share, it really makes sense. Like I was reading the Headless Snake and somebody talked about the need to get back to your family, like reuniting with family. So sometimes you read some of these things online and something resonates. So I suggest you do that. And it's interesting that so many people had this dream. Headless snake.
That's does anyone, Gary or Tim, do you have anything to add? Or okay. All right, now we're gonna want to hear Tim's dream now, but then I just want to mention as coming attractions, Gary had this wonderful vision. And Gary, could you put a link to where you had it on the thing? I'm going to put the text in the text too of the
Yeah, I'll do
of
that,
his
because
vision.
it's, this
I
is
got the link,
this
I
is a
think.
really interesting site. You know, when we did our meditation for, you know, the Sunday group, you know, Annette did a presentation. And so she had sent me some materials. And from that material, you know, I happened to come across this, you know, this book that it's sort of along in the shamanic realm, but they're doing ecstatic trance postures, and the postures come from, you know, these are,
Ancient.
you know, almost like prehistory, you know, 500 BC, 1000 BC, and there will be these figurines that, you know, what they discover. And then, you know, the interpretations are that, well, you know, maybe these figurines and the postures that they were holding, you know, were significant. So then when they do, you know, the trances and things, they, you know, especially if there was no written language for these things, you know, they work out, you know, what was the purpose of the posture. And you know, I tried one of their sessions. I found it pretty powerful and pretty amazing, you know, for what I got in the first time. But I'll put up a link to their site.
Yeah. Well, we definitely want to go over. I just for a sneak peek, I put his 4 images in there. And the fact that they're 4, I see some relatedness between the 4. It's almost like it's almost like a mandala. But anyway, and one other thing, when we're Dawn, I think we want to go over your white woman dream again. Okay, Tim, you have the dream that you want to put in the text or in the chat?
Sure.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, this again has to do with my political satire group, the Montana Logging and Ballet Company.
And you've been in that for years.
Yeah, for
How
like
many years?
40,
Yeah.
45, something like that.
I mean, that's going back a ways.
Yeah. So I call it camp photo. So I'm with the MLBC, which is the name of the group, at a camp where we're supposed to do an evening concert. Someone has the idea that we will take a group photo in the nude, lined up along the riverbank with our business covered. I am first to get undressed and lined up, but I'm a mess from some sort of play that I was engaged in. So I go off and try and find some junk clothes, and then I wander around the camp looking for a suitable bath to get cleaned up. I find several locations, but each one of them is too scummy or too close to people, and I just keep getting frustrated. Finally, on the other side of the camp, I find a piece of the creek that is isolated. I've been gone a long time from the group, but I look across and see my group is now eating dinner, which I had forgotten about. I had thought I had more time. So I jump in this shallow brook and wash myself off. And I have this fear that I'm going to try to save these junky clothes because that's the kind of person I am. So I don't want to do that. But already I'm sure it's too late for the photo, and I'm sure I will be late for the concert.
Okay, great. Well, let's just get started on. I mean, you start out, it's a little murky, and it just starts to clarify. Okay, so you're with this group who is sort of an artistic. A lot of your dreams have been involved with your father's was part of a theatrical group. I mean, you were supposed to go to see that wonderful anima figure, and you were barred from seeing her. You were going to participate in a midnight rehearsal with her, and you were barred from seeing that. So this idea of the theatrical group of which you're a part is very important. And it is, just this idea of the, it's sort of almost like a Greek drama or a Greek tragedy comedy thing of the amphitheater. There's an aspect of it that is, brings the realm of the eternal into a group instead of participating in the ordinary activities. If it was a Greek play, it is one that is not frivolous. It has an aspect of it. It summons the gods. I mean, no. Now, who was it? I remember someone that said that any time you go to a ballet or to a Mozart concert or something, the gods are there too. It's this aspect that this what they are performing here is not of human creation. It came from somewhere else. Mozart was the conduit for some divine rhythms. Now, okay. So someone has the idea that we will have a group photo in the nude lined up along the riverbank with covering your private parts. Is that what you're meant? Or not? What does that mean? Yeah. Okay. Now, the idea here, I would say, is, as I'm just saying this, is every morning I go through the 7 gates with Inanna, and that's what we do. We keep removing items of clothing until we get down through the 7th gate, and we have no more persona. We are now ready to enter the realm of images because we've left all our ego persona behind. Now then with this group, this one that summons the gods in a Greek sense, we're lined up along the unconscious, the flowing river of the unconscious. And we're going to make an image there of these people so we're going to create an image. I used to always have dreams about how important photographs that were being made, ancient photographs, or anything. There was just always this theme of the photograph, the image, Now, the dream ego is the first one to get undressed and lined up, but it is soiled. So there's an aspect that it needs to. You're in a mess from a place. So you get undressed and lined up. Now, is your body dirty?
Yeah. Like I've been playing in the grass or something, and there's just
so you don't want to. You took off your clothes, and now you're going to put them back on, and but you.
It seems like I have to find some raggy clothes or something else that I need to put on.
You can't. Okay, so the clothes you had are not suitable to wear anyway. So you have to get some clothes, and the only ones that are handy are not your clothes. They're just hobo clothes that you find lying around. So you, before you wander around the camp looking for a suitable bath, but there's no privacy or the water's too dirty. So, so what you're trying to do is cleanse yourself. Or sort of, become, there's some aspect that covers you that needs to be removed because it is, it is, well, it's just soiling us. I mean, it's not allowing us to, there's an aspect of soiling. This is the whole idea of purification. Water purification is you're just, there's an idea of that you renew, it's renewal. So water, the water of life is a renewal aspect. And so when we get in and take a bath, don't you always feel renewed when you come out? Before you go in, you feel grimy and gritty and everything. And after you come out, you feel 100% better. You know, so there's aspect of renewal. And then, so you finally do find a creek that is not near people and that is not scummy. And now, but yet it's taken a long, long time. And you look across and see that the group is has went on onto other activities, so you've been left out. So you jump in the shallow brook, wash yourself off, and hoping I don't try to. So now you run off in the hobo clothes, and you're all worried about that. You're now going to be sort of, these are your permanent. You
Right.
don't want these to be your permanent persona going forward. But it's just an idea of that the old persona that you have is covered with dirt. And the only available persona right now is of a hobo, of some old torn up clothes. So you can't wear your old persona. The persona that's available makes you look silly. So you're sort of stuck in the middle. I don't know. And then you're too late, but you missed the photo, but now you're also going to be late for the to participate in the concert. So again, you're missing participating in the this sort of ritual event that seems very important to Psyche, and it always says it's going to happen, but then you're left out. It's going to happen, but you're left out. You know, that's how it's come up a couple times. Okay, well, let's just go around the room. Roy, what do you? How do you look at these images?
Oh yeah, this is I like the old classic Young story on this one. You're going to show your essence, your true self. You find this to be more difficult than you thought it was going to be. You look at yourself as dirty and your clothes aren't suitable. So you have to go and clean that up. You have to find some isolation and privacy. You find like a Temenos. You go into the dark woods. And so you start realizing that you're too late for the dinner or the photo. In other words, you've awakened, you've discovered your essence and your true self, and now you won't fit in. That's my classic Young take.
Beautiful. Now, what was I missed the first part of what you said? Could you repeat that? You said it's classic Young, and then go ahead.
They're gonna be nude, so he's lining up at that part where he's lining up to show his true self.
Yes.
And that's not suitable. Excuse me.
No, you said that he's going to get his pure essence, and
Yes.
then now restate the conclusion again, because
The conclusion is he crosses the creek and he finds privacy, which is a Temenos. And that's like going into the dark woods.
Mm-hmm.
And he discovers his true self, but he's going to be too late for the dinner or the photo. In other words, he's become more aware and conscious, and now he can't go back and be part of this thing that he originally assumed he was going to do.
Yeah, that is a recurring theme. Now he needs to find his true essence. His true essence is not ready to be. There's some aspect that his true essence is not being shown through yet. He needs to find a Temenos or a dark wood to restore his essence to its essence condition. But in the process, he has missed some event in the outer world. I mean, in other words, that we're delaying something that we do for ourselves is delaying a participation elsewhere. Is that kind of what you're saying? But it also—
Yeah, well, that's what happens to us. If you're going to individuate, that's what happens to us when we're just a persona. And when we decide to look deeper and discover our essence, we don't fit in. We're not the same person. And what you're going to do? You know, your friends leave, your things that you were involved in and enjoyed, they don't mean anything anymore. You just question a lot of stuff.
I just love this process of what we're doing here, because it just keeps bringing up more clues and clues. What makes the murky. Go ahead. What you say, Tim?
Well, it seems like there's three elements that are being missed here. One is creating the image with the social group. The other one is being nurtured in the dinner. And the third is presenting something of value. And all three of these are being missed because the persona is not true.
Let's go through those three again.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. And you're not there, maybe your ego's not there, but your soul knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Creating the image, being nurtured at the dinner, and then what was the last one?
Presenting something of value to the community.
Presenting something of value. Okay. Yeah. And then this all, the reason we missed it is because our essence was not purified.
Yeah.
And we needed to go into, so we're not ready to accomplish these things, because of a lack of orientation within, or something. What do you, is that close? I mean, that's kind of what Roy was saying. And
yeah,
I mean, we need to orient ourselves within before we can be creative in the outer world in all these ways. Creating the image, gaining, this Lillian Fry Rome said of, my wife used to say, oh, wouldn't it have been wonderful to be one of those women in the 20s and 30s in Zurich with Jung. I mean, she just thinks it would be so wonderful, to be amongst that circle, because she's read a lot about it. And Lillian Fry Rohn said, every day in that circle was filled with rich spiritual food. I mean, it was just this aspect that it just, my wife just came up with that out of nowhere. And
oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking since last night. I was Googling Barbara Hanna and from France, and I was thinking exactly the same thing, that at a certain point, all these people were living in the same area, and there was this circle, everybody was doing their own thing. But I was thinking, oh my God, how wonderful it would be with all these people doing it. And it's funny that you're saying this right now. Funny.
I mean, there was very few men. I mean,
Yeah,
it was Peter Baines and maybe one other, maybe Carl Alfred Meyer and a couple other, but everybody else, Tony Wolfe, Carrie Baines, Barbara Hanna, Lillian Fry Rohn, Linda Fears David, Von Franz, Esther Harding, Eleanor Bertine. It's just these amazing geniuses. I mean, and the fact is, every single one is worth a lot on their own. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't know how I got off.
It's funny that you're saying this right now.
Okay, we'll get back to creating the. We have to get our oriented in our essence before we can do, what got me is being nurtured. That was what got me. That was what my wife was saying. So it was creating the image, being nurtured from image creating, you know, and then presenting something of value. Now, or making something of value, not necessarily for the outer world, but for you know, creating the symbol that's of value to us too. I mean, not just to us, but to our soul. You know, what Hillman says, write what happened today, but not what happened to you, but what happened to your soul. What happened of value to the soul today, you know, or something like that. You know, okay, Azim, how do you go at it?
Then the only thing that I want to add is that my understanding of this dream is that maybe what you're trying to wash off and clean up, maybe it's related to that group, because it's been a long time that you are connected, you're part of this group. I don't know what it is about, but there's an aspect that is no more needed or dead or not functioning, just old, ragged, whatever. But you need to wash up that aspect that is, maybe it's related to your presence in the group. And maybe it worked for a while. Now it's just preventing you to be yourself. And I think the dream may be suggesting to get rid of this, wash off these things, and just withdraw to ourselves, find a purer aspect. And clothes are usually manifestation of consciousness. So if the clothes are not you don't find the proper clothes, as you said, you cannot present yourself or present what is happening in you, and you cannot manifest it the way you want to. So maybe you want to think about that. What is old and what needs to be washed off before you can manifest something greater.
Seems like something needs to happen before we can participate in the three things. We need to find, I think Roy stated it wonderfully. This dream is about our essence, but our essence is not ready to participate in that until it goes into the dark woods, into the temenos, and finds what it is missing there, you know, and then bring that with it when it goes over here. Because right now, we don't have that.
It's an alchemic process. It's an alchemic process. One of the first stages of alchemy that you washed off and you purify yourself. You purify the prima matter before you start the real process.
Yeah, and it's a brooding, really. I mean, going into the dark woods, going into the temenos, taking the ritual bath. I mean, it has nothing to do with the intellect. I mean, it's some aspect that is really a feminine act. You know, it's an act of doing something that's not related to the thinking world or something. Get out of that thinking world. You know, I mean, that's the whole idea of the trance, is to go down and stop using directed thinking and start using metaphorical thinking. And you find that in the dark woods, in the temenos. You know, that's the healing aspect. Is you know, this thing here that goes rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, and just goes in this circles, infinite loop. It needs to be done away with. Be gone, you know, get out of here. And now I am ready to do these three things, but not while I have that little tape going on in my head like that. And the only way I get rid of it is going into the dark woods, into the temenos, the sacred temenos. What do you think, Gary?
Well, I like everything that's been said. I guess the only thing that I would add is that, so he discards his initial set of clothes, and that's kind of the last we hear of him. And then the only other set, he can find are the hobo clothes. And he's okay with changing the persona to go find the place to purify. But then after the purification, where he's now at his essence, he realizes that no, these have to be gotten rid of as well. So all he's left with is his essence. And that's, it's really quite a powerful image.
And it's really the clothes of poverty. It's like putting on sackcloth. The person who puts on sackcloth.
Well, it could be the clothes of fun too.
Yes.
If you're playing, you get dirty. You don't have your best clothes on. It's just natural. It doesn't have to be poverty or
no, but yes, that's true.
Ashes and sackcloth.
Of mourning. It's not of mourning. That's a very good point. But they are clothes that are not saying, I am the great so-and-so, or I am the great this. No, they're just utilitarian clothes. I'm not going to have a fake phony persona anymore. I'm going to have a utilitarian utilitarian persona, because my persona is not who I am. It is my essence that's important. And so the persona that I'm going to wear now is going to be one that says nothing. It just is going to allow me to function in the outer world, as a naked ape. I can't necessarily, I need a artificial fur of some type, because okay, Tim, now you, oh, wait, we got Charles. Charles, what do you think? Charles has always got a pretty, first he says, I don't know what the hell it means. And then he has something that is.
Hey, he's got to have the fancy clothes too. He doesn't go to the party unless he has new clothes.
You want that girl over there? Want her? You need a new suit of clothes. That's what the wise old woman told him. What do you think, Charles?
I don't know. I feel like this dream to me kind of says something about Tim feeling like not presentable or good enough for to like engage in this kind of outer societal what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, like just outer group engagement, societal stuff. I feel like it, I don't know, maybe there's something inside saying that he's like, does not feel good enough or presentable enough for it. And then he makes this effort to clean himself up. And then it turns out that like these things weren't really like meant for him to begin with. And that it, overall, I just feel like this dream is pointing to like a very different way of living has to be done, and a big like change in like purpose and yeah, just big change in purpose needs to take place. And I know that, I mean, that's what I see.
The idea, I think, is we need to go forward without affectation. We need to be more genuine, and we need to be more ourselves. Why aren't you more like Abraham? Why aren't you more like Moses? Why aren't you more like Tim? Tim, who was that alter ego figure that you had? Remember that alter ego dream you had? You remember that?
Boy, there's a few of them like that.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about like the rector?
Yeah, well, there was some guy that you'd always thought of, I don't know, I don't remember that. I just thought you had some alter ego figure in the dream.
Oh gosh, when I was younger, I had this kind of wise Indian man that I thought of as my sort of my guide or something. Maybe that's
One with completely without affectation, probably wearing just a loincloth and
Yeah.
something like that. He just would wear something just to be decent, not to be anything more than what he really was, because his essence was more important than what his clothes were. So the persona, where we're all the opposite sometimes, our persona in the outer world, our jobs and everything else, that's our identity. That's who we are. It's our jobs and everything else and everything we do, and whenever we're feeling a little, weak or vulnerable, say, hey, look at what I did, or something like that. But then that's not really our essence, the aspect that's not seen. That's something we did a long time ago. What about right in this present moment? Who are you? What are you doing? I mean, those haunting questions that this woman in the near-death experience, that the self kept asking her over and over. Who are you?
One thing that comes out for me in this discussion is I'm realizing that the feeling during this dream was not that I wasn't going to measure up or that I wasn't good enough. It was constantly that I'm going to be embarrassed because I don't fit in. All the way along, and it seems like being the first guy to get undressed, I'm not unwilling to present myself. It's that I don't fit in, and over that the feeling to me is, well, I just can't get it right.
What was that one dream you had where they were starting to take down some things at they were having some fair. I mean, you've had several things where somehow you missed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the idea here is the reason. Now I'm just going by what Tim and Zine and the others said. The reason we missed out is if we could just go there and be I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm not going to say it. I'm just blurted it out. If we could go there, like the Indian in the loincloth, we'd always be ready. Because we're genuine and ourselves, and what we're wearing or what we're doing is unimportant.
Or just have the courage to be
in this present moment. You have to be in this moment. And now let me tell you something else. Now, this is those who can't teach. I'm not saying I'm this type of person, but in this present moment, and one guy told me one time that there was this woman that he met who every relationship was I thou. I mean, every time she sat down with you, she wanted to do what those Greek, she wanted to summon the deities between you and me. I mean, just to talk to that essence in the other, and not to their persona. I mean, it was, so in this moment and of the essences of both of us, and talk to the essence. Now you do that sometimes in sacred circles. I mean, this is something I really experience in AA is outside. All there are personas and jokesters and braggarts and everything like that. But once you get into the sacred circle, they're missing all their clothes. They're wearing no persona here. I mean, it is each person. They seem like they're almost in a trance because they feel around the table complete acceptance of them. No matter what they say, no one will judge them. And everyone will hear what they have to say. And the act of telling it to the accepting circle is healing. You know, it's the act of the confessional. You know, it's just something about it. Well, does anyone have any other comments about the dream? And then we could look at Gary's vision, and then I would hope, Dawn too, I would like you to send us that white woman dream again, if you could. I tried to find it and I couldn't find it. Does anybody else have, Tim, do you have any other final thoughts about the dream?
No, I think we covered it, and you guys are so good at this. It's great.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is, again, now this is something I found in my active imagination. I have to write this stuff down. I can't just sit around and talk about it. I have to write it down, and then you have what's called relentless memory about it. Well, let's look at Gary's vision. Now, first of all, Gary, can you just describe the ecstatic stance you did?
Yeah, so, you know, I thought this whole process was pretty interesting. You know, the group leader, you know, he begins with, you know, he does a cleansing with like, you know, sage or something. And then he did like the 4 winds prayer or something very similar to that, you know, to each of the directions, where he honored, you know, each of the directions. And then he had us do, you know, breath work for 5 minutes to kind of put us into the state. And then, oh yeah, there he is. And then he presents the, you know, a picture of the posture that we're actually going to use. And there's a number of these postures. He's got a book out. I bought the book and I've been reading it, you know, but it goes through each of the postures, you know, what history they actually have on it, you know, some of the experiences that he has had or other people have had using it. And so you do, after the breath work, you do the posture for 15 minutes while he plays, you know, some of those drums and stuff that you see there. And it's, you know, when he's playing these, it's like at 200 beats per minute. It's not meant to be musical. It's meant to sort of entrain the brain. And then he stops and, I forget, either, you know, at that point we either journal or he, you know, gives an offering for whatever we've received. And his offering was to play this ancient flute, you know, for a few minutes to, you know, sort of, you know, to thank the spirits. But I found it, you know, very powerful to do this in that group setting. I think I got a lot more out of it than if I just tried this on my own. He has practices on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Right now it's free. It's free. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put the link in there. But let's just go over the images real quick. There is, first of all, now look at the setting of each of them. First, there is a dodo. So it's an ancient, extinct bird. It's on a beach. It's near the unconscious. Now we are the dodo. We are an ancient bird, an extinct bird, a land bird. It's somewhat like the shoe-billed stork, and we are this ancient extinct bird. So it's really this ancestral elemental aspect, and we're dancing around the sacred fire while we wave our stubby wings. Image 1, this is a mandala. Image 2, we are in the high mountains, we enter a cave, there's another sacred fire. This time it's not a dodo. There is a figure entirely cloaked sitting by the fire. He looks like a pyramid under the great cloak. So it's just a man who's who's told you can't see his face, or some figure, and he's just sitting there looking like a motionless object under the gray cloak, or almost like a gray blanket or something like that. Image 2, the mandala. Okay, image 3. We are floating through the clouds. So the first two, the one was near the beach in the unconscious. The other one is in a deep underground cave under a mountain. The next one is we're ethereal. We're up in the air, and we startle one of the beings there, the king of the ethereal, the eagle. He's not. What are you doing here? And he in sort of upset at our presence, grabs us with his talons and drags us around for a while. Image 3. Image 4, the kingfisher. This is the Young's bird. And we dive below the surface of the ocean. This is image 4. We dive below the surface of the ocean, and we find what's down there, and we catch this being from deep under the water. But do we really want to swallow this? There was the image in Thus Spake Zarathustra, where there was one guy that swallowed a snake, or was swallowing a snake. Do you remember that? And then there was someone else who was supposed to swallow a frog or something. That might not have been in that book. But in Zarathustra, somebody's supposed to swallow a snake, and they're not sure they want to swallow that. So it's this, they're not sure, the dream ego is not sure if it can assimilate something so raw and so foreign, non-human. The psyche is really non-human. That's image 4. Now, so you got the ocean and the ancestral bird, not related to this world, very ancient, hasn't been around for hundreds of years. And then the sort of the meditating figure by the sacred fire, deep under the mountain in a cave. Then the ethereal aspect, and then going deep down in the ocean. At least you and that's the mandala. Does anyone have any just comments about that? I mean, just the 4 images, not how the miracle of them appearing, but which is a miracle, but about the images. I used to do this myself. I had 4 images, and let me see if I can find it. Just a second here. I think I've shown this before, but well, go ahead if you have any comments. Tim or Roy or Azine or Charles. What do you think about the process? I'm kind of curious about the process myself. I definitely want to try it.
I'm not sure if we can interpret these visions like we do with dreams.
But
It's a bit different because the ego is active.
well,
I don't know. Some visions feel like symbolic. They're coming from somewhere deep. But I'm not sure if we can do this with every image that comes to a vision in a ceremonial way.
not necessarily, that's true, but I just wanted to
But
show you.
the fish, maybe you want to say the fish is consciousness, and you don't know if you want to swallow this, the whole process or something.
Yeah, one thing is, though, is it an accident that there were 4 images and that they all had this different? I mean, there's sort of a quaternity aspect to it, and it seems to have how do you interpret the mandala? When you see a mandala, you know, 4 images. I want to show you a vision. These were actually a vision. And I sort of tried to interpret them, you know. This one, you know, first of all, I saw a dead elk. Then I saw Otzi. Now this was that ancient man they found in the Alps under the ice when it melted. And the third image was just a hand holding a black and white bird. Okay, now those were 3 images I had right. And then the 4th image was a woman with a silver face. She was the moon goddess. And she pointed to those 3 things. And she says, I will prove this. She says, what you see is all true, those 3 things. And I will prove it to you. And that was just this little vision, you know. And now they had if you've ever done rock readings, well, I'll do that. I'll bring that up next time. But the rock reading, you look at and you take a rock and you look at you find 2 things in all the little, just the bumps and everything on the rock. You find 2 things, you know. One looks like the moon surface. The other looks like a tree, you know, and you keep going around onto 4 sides. And then I'll bring it up next time. I don't have enough time. Well, does anybody have any other? I guess we're out of time, but we'll finish this next time. And
you know, that's okay
yeah.
too. You know, I think Zen might be right. You know, there may be no interpreting this, you know. It was, you know, I found it all really strange. And even the last thing, it was, you know, I started going back and forth between being the kingfisher and kind of being myself, you know. And as myself, I definitely didn't want to swallow the fish, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of thinking that this was not an accident, that these weren't random. That's just, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I will put the link in the email, Dawn, of the thing, and you guys will love it if you do it. I mean, and they're free too to do this. So anyway, well, thank you, Charles. Thank you, Tim. And it's so good to see you, Tim. It's been I hope you had a good Christmas.
Yeah, I had a lot of church activities and stuff, so I was out.
Yep. Yeah, you were visiting all over. So
Yeah.
anyway, well, thank you, everybody, and we'll reconvene Monday.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
see you
you.
guys all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Not sure I can find my way of ending this.